recording now. Yes, I'm recording. So we're going to record this session, and what I want to do is I want to upload it to YouTube and then share the link through the LMS. So if you miss a session, you can go and check the link in the LMS.
So I think we have to change the Zooms again because some people are still left and we can deny the class, so we should better move to Zoom.
Now, do you have their email addresses?
Yes, but they say they didn't get the invitation.
Huh. If you help me, I can add them to the team. Okay, do you have their, can you tell me what their email addresses are?
Okay, let me ask.
Sometimes it's very easy, like for example, Patricio Santander is patricio.santander, right, at alu.ucm.cl. So usually it's the name, a dot, and the last name. Sometimes the name, a dot, the last name, and 01. For example, Paolo Tapia is Paolo.tapia. So as long as you get that information, I can add them to the course, and maybe that would be the, it will give them the possibility to join. Okay, so in order to move on, last class we were reviewing concepts connected with phonetics and phonology. I'm going to share the presentation with you so you can go quicker. Are you able to see the presentation? Okay, Claudio, I'm receiving the email, and it's a Gmail. Okay, Teams works with institutional email addresses, so it has.
No, really. Right now I'm with my personal email and it is working.
Wonderful. Thank you for informing me that.
So you can add any email.
Thank you. So we're going to try now. Okay, we're going to try that right now with the first one you're giving me. Okay, it worked. It seems to be, yes, it worked with the first one with Alvarin, and then I'm going to try with the second one with Kathy. I used to add students as members in Teams, but it didn't work with the students having a different email address. So it's great to know that now it can be done with other like Gmail accounts and Hotmail accounts, etc., etc. Okay, I'm finishing adding Tamara Martí. I already invited Alvarin, Katy, Tamara. I'm trying now with Martina, Jovanovic, and please a little bit of patience. So because we want everyone to join the group, or the team in this case. Okay, Martina. Yes. So Alvarin, Katy, Tamara, and Martina are already part of the team. Okay. Any other students that you know that want to join the session but can't do it because they were not invited? No. Okay. Let me know through the chat if you know about a student who's trying to join the session but cannot do it because their email has not been accepted or the invitation has not reached them. Okay, so I'm going to share with you, considering that some of you were not present last class, this PowerPoint presentation. Are you able to see the PowerPoint presentation that I'm sharing with you?
Yes, teacher.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. So, good. So if you go to one of the concepts that we need to be very clear is what is phonetics. The point is, because this class is about English phonetics or about phonetics, right? So phonetics, it's a scientific study of sounds. The way we speak, the way we produce sounds, is a matter of study for phonetics. So, for instance, when I say phonetics, basically I'm putting one sound after the other, and I'm creating a word. And you can understand that that's a word because there's an initial sound, a couple of sounds in the middle, and a final sound. And then you know that phonetics, the first sound is f, the last sound is s, and after that comes another word. So and also you know that phonetics has a couple of sounds like f, m, e, t, e, so we're talking about 8 sounds. If we put these sounds together, these 8 sounds together in this order, we have the word phonetics, right? So phonetics studies the sounds individually and is able to identify each one of the sounds with each one of their properties. For instance, when I say the first one, the initial sound, I'm using my upper teeth and the bottom lips, right? But when I'm producing the last sound, I'm saying I'm not using my upper teeth. When I'm producing I'm using my tongue, right? And my tongue is being pressed on a specific area of my mouth, right? Is produced by pressing the tip of the tongue, pressing the area called the alveolar ridge, and that's what phonetics deals with. The way sounds are produced, the way sounds are identified by the listener, and the way that sound waves travel in the air and reach the listener. So how sounds are produced, how sounds are written or transcribed using these very strange symbols that we're going to call phonemic symbols, and how are we able to recognize these sounds? Phonetics is subdivided into 3 branches, or 3 subfields or sub-branches: articulatory phonetics, acoustic phonetics, and auditory phonetics. If you're looking at these PowerPoint presentation, if you're looking at the slide that says subfields of phonetics, I'm going to ask one of you to read this. Let's see. Felipe Ibanez is not able to. I'm sorry to interrupt this. Oh, okay. So Felipe can join. Thank you, Ms. Rebeco. Going back to the presentation. So I'm going to ask some of you to read here. Let's see who's in the room. Okay. Leonardo San Martin, Matias Bustos, and Javiera Treviños, in that order. Can you deal with the first paragraph and the second paragraph and then the last one, please? Okay, ready?
Sir Leonardo does not have a microphone.
Okay, so thank you for telling me that. Who would like to replace Leonardo? What about Macarena Vargas? Macarena Vargas, can you read the, I think Leonardo was assigned the first paragraph?
Yes.
Okay, can you read the first paragraph, please?
Acoustic phonetics. The study of the acoustic characteristic of speech, including an analysis and description of speech in terms of its physical properties, such as frequency, intensity, and duration.
Thank you so much. So, um, uh, so we have we learned that acoustic phonetics deals with the physical properties of sounds, right? Physical properties. It's interesting to know because we cannot touch sounds, we cannot see sounds. Still, they can be registered and they can be evaluated and they can be described by special machines that can record the physical properties of sounds, the frequency, I mean, how often they occur, the intensity, if a sound is loud or if a sound is low, right? And also the length or duration. You can measure a sound and you can say, okay, that person said for 2 seconds, and this other person said for 1 second. So that's duration, and you can measure sounds. And that's what acoustic phonetics deals with, particularly because we're going to be talking about long, for example, long vowel sounds and short vowel sounds. When we refer to, for example, E, we're going to refer to it as a long sound, and I, we're going to call it like a short I, okay, a short sound. So that has to do with duration or length. Now, we're going to say long and short vowel sounds, for instance, considering only our own perception of sounds. But in general, since phonetics is a scientific study, the sounds can be measured, I mean, by machines, right? They can be measured by specific devices, so we can have a more scientific reading of the duration of sound, not just our own human perception. Okay. The second, please, second paragraph. Whose turn is it? Is it Matthias? Matthias's turn? No?
Uh, it's my turn?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Auditory phonetics, a branch of phonetics concerned with the hearing of speech sounds and with the speech perception.
Thank you so much, Matthias. So auditory phonetics deals with the way that we hear the sounds in terms of the listener and in terms of the way we perceive how we speak. If we go to this slide, we can see that when you speak or when I speak, when we think about what we're going to say, that is a process that takes place in the brain, right? In a specific area of the brain that we're going to go in depth later. The point is that you think about what you're going to say. Some people don't think what they're going to say, but in general, we think before we speak, right? And we send the signals to through the nerves, particularly the motor nerves. Motor because they have to do with motion, right? And we send this signal to the muscles in our mouth that move in order to produce a sound like E or a sound like I or a sound like A, because the mouth and the lips, the tongue, shapes in a different way. And we produce these speech sounds, and they travel as sound waves. They have these particular physical properties that can be measured by the acoustic phonetics. And at the same time we speak and someone is listening to us, we are listening to ourselves, and this comes as feedback to our ears to and this information enters the process. So I know if I, for example, have to repeat what I just said because the listener is not understanding me, or I can move on with my ideas. That's part of the feedback that I get. And then going back to the sound waves travel in the air. Someone listens to these sound waves, and the sensory nerves transform them into signals that are interpreted by the brain, because it's not our ears that interpret the signals, but it's our brain, and our brain decodifica, right? Our brain decodes the information and transform it into understandable input, understandable information. So whenever we speak, whenever you or I or any person speaks, we can see this process into three different levels: the linguistic level, the physiological level, and the acoustic level, right? The linguistic level implying what is happening in terms of how the sound is articulated, which parts of the body are interacting to produce the the sounds, right? Which parts of the body move here in the physiological level, and in the acoustic level, which has to do with the sound waves that are registered by the ear and interpreted in different ways. Um, it's an interesting process that we're going to go back later, but it has to do with the auditory phonetics, the way that sounds or speech sounds are perceived, right, by the listener and by the person who is actually producing the sounds. The third subfield of phonetics is articulatory phonetics. Articulatory phonetics. And who was in charge of this one?
Me, can you hear me?
Yes, go on.
Articulatory, articulatory phonetics. In static articulation, phoneticians explain how humans produce speech sounds. I don't know how to say that. Via the interaction of different physiological structures. Generally, articulatory phonetics is concerned with the transformation of aerodynamic energy into the acoustic energy.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. So, by the way, if I don't know, for example, how to pronounce this word, what I expect from you is I expect you to write this down and look it up in it, not from you specifically, but from you all to write this word down and check out the pronunciation. The same with this very technical words that we're going to be repeating a lot during the semester, like for instance, articulatory, or if you want articulatory phonetics, auditory, or auditory, right? Auditory phonetics and acoustic phonetics. Um, any word that you might see that you're not able to pronounce, right? Phoneticians, right? Write it down in your notebook. Keep a file or in your notebook or copybook. Write it down so you can, for instance, aerodynamic. Aerodynamic. That's also another word that might be interesting to discuss. So, and so phonetics, that's for phonetics. And for phonology, we were discussing that phonology is a field of linguistics that also has to do with sounds. But languages allow a specific combination of sounds, and this specific combination of sounds or phonemes, which is another technical word what we're going to be using, phonemes, right? Phonemes. Some languages allow that some sounds may be placed in the initial position. For example, we can start words with, we can say in Spanish, semilla. In English, we can say sound. We can start letters with, or words with the sound t. We can say taza. We can say table. So English and Spanish allow t in the initial position. Let's see t in final position. We can say pot. We can say cot. We can say rot. So in English, t is allowed in final position. Do you know a word in Spanish ending in t?
No.
Okay. I'm thinking about closet, but closet is closet has go on.
But that is like I don't know it's a Spanish word.
It's
Classic.
a borrowing. It's a linguistic borrowing. I mean, we took the word from a different language.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like when we say pizza. Pizza is not a Spanish word. We took it from, I guess, Italian, or I don't know, sushi. Sushi is not a Spanish word, but we borrowed the language, the word from a different language. So, I mean, you could say that in general, Spanish word in the Spanish language, the t sound is not allowed in final position. So you can come up with some sort of rules or patterns that can be found in different languages. We talked about the combination of consonant sounds like strange, or sprite. So you can start words in English with the combination as in sprite, spring, sprout. You can have this combination in initial position, this consonant cluster, straight, street, strange. So in English, this cluster, this group of consonant sounds is allowed in Spanish in initial position. Now in Spanish, can you think of a word starting with or starting with So I guess from the silence, you're thinking maybe. It's actually difficult to find or impossible to find the combination spur as in spring or stir as in strange in Spanish. So in the English phonology deals with these possible combinations in the English language. So we have an English phonology, we have a Spanish phonology, we have a Chinese phonology, French phonology, Italian phonology, because each phonology deals with a specificity, with specific features of language and the way that the sounds interact with each other in each specific language. Okay, so phonology is also a field of linguistics, but it deals with the distribution and the interaction of sounds. Okay, and it deals particularly with the way that phonemes are produced, perceived, and transcribed. Phonemes. The word phonemes, which is something that we're going to be dealing now. A phoneme is a sound unit. For example, I can say the word can, and the word can is composed of k, a, n. 3 phonemes. Okay, so spoken language can be broken into a string of sound units. Can is a string of units. It's a series of sounds. In this case, 3 sounds, 3 phonemes. K, a, n. Okay, can, and put together mean something, right? If I change the initial sound, k, 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 right, and I put, for example, a t, so I say tan, tan. Am I changing the meaning of a word?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So that's why I know that this t is a phoneme because it's one sound, is one unit, right? It's one phoneme, and this phoneme changes the meaning of a word. So that's why I know that this is a phoneme because it's one unit, it's a small unit, and it's contrastive because it changes the meaning. If it doesn't change the meaning of a word, then it's not a phoneme. If it doesn't change the meaning of a word, then we're talking about an allophone. Okay? I think we refer to allophones in Spanish like ch and sh. They are allophones because they don't change the meaning of the word, right? Um, you can say chaqueta and chaqueta. You can say shala and chala. You can say chicha and shisha. You can say Chile and Chile, and we
Correct.
identify. So we identify that the initial sound is different. Sorry, but the meaning does not change. So whenever you have the same context, Chile and Chile, and you can perceive that the sounds are different. Still, the meaning does not change. We're talking about allophones. Okay. In English, for example, when you say letter and letter, when you say button and button, when you say writer and writer, okay? So, for example, when you say writer, you say writer with a t sound, right? And when you say writer, you use one sound that is called flap. A flap is what you can hear in rider, fighter, later, right? It's called flap, and it's quite common for general American English or the dialect spoken in some areas of the United States, general American. So phonemes are sound units. Allophones are sound units. By sound unit, I mean a phoneme, that is one sound. The difference between a phoneme and an allophone is that when you're using a different sound, I mean a sound that changes the meaning, you're talking about a phoneme. And when you're talking about a sound that does not change the meaning of a word, we're just talking a different realization of the same sound, a different realization of the same phoneme. For example, um, if you say puerta and you say puerta, in the second one you are adding plosive. You understand that the sound, the properties of the sound are different. Puerta, puerta. It's not just louder, but also there's more plosion. It's the plosion we use for a p in English. Puerta. There are different sounds, but the meaning does not change. You still can understand that device that you can have in a house to enter the house if you open it. So in that case, we're talking about allophones. Okay. Now I don't know if I'm being understood by you, if I'm explaining myself.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, teacher. You did well.
Okay. Okay, thank you for the feedback. So going back to the presentation, I shared with you last class a vowel quadrilateral. This vowel quadrilateral or a vowel diagram or vowel chart was designed by a phonetician, right, Daniel Jones, and it represents a mouth. It represents, like, for example, the upper part is the roof of your mouth. The bottom part is the bottom part of your mouth. The teeth would be in this area, the teeth, right? And the uvula would be at the back. Um, Let me consider some of the terms we were discussing. So this vowel quadrilateral is the mouth, meaning that we're going to consider that that is something like this. Okay, that is the vowel quadrilateral or vowel chart or vowel diagram, okay, designed by Daniel Jones. And it helps us to understand where the tongue is placed. Am I getting messages here? No, okay, sorry. Can you see the presentation? Can you still see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, teacher.
Yes.
thank you for the feedback.
Yes.
So, thank you. So, these are parts of the body, parts of the mouth, parts of the vocal tract. We're going to talk about this as a vocal tract that are going to be used when we produce the sounds, right?
That,
So we're going to be talking about the upper lips, the bottom lips, upper and bottom lips. We're going to be talking about the, sorry. We're going to be talking about the upper teeth, right here, the upper teeth and the lower teeth. So when you produce the sound as in fire, father, feast, the initial sound, you're going to be using the upper teeth and the bottom lips, right? When you produce a sound as in father, feast, fun, you're going to be producing the sound with the upper teeth and the lower and the bottom lips. Is that right?
Yes.
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 Can you produce this sound with, thank you, can you produce a sound with the bottom teeth and the upper lips?
No.
No.
No, it's
No.
hard.
No.
Okay, so
Doesn't
we
sound
understand.
so.
It doesn't, right? It doesn't. Okay, so we're going to be very clear when we describe sounds. We're going to say the sound is produced by the lips. We're going to say the sound is produced, the phoneme is produced by the, I don't know, the upper teeth pressed against the bottom lips. For example, when we produce the sound as in mother, moon, make, we have to use both lips, right? Both
Yes.
lips. Uh-huh, exactly. When we produce the sound as in seen, sail, sun, sake, we're using the tip of the tongue pressed against the Alveolar ridge. Okay, alveolar ridge. Alveolar ridge. And that's an area that's right behind the upper teeth. Alveolar ridge, right? When you say day, when you say right, when you say song, you're pressing the tip of the tongue
Right.
towards the alveolar ridge, right? Um, Now, the center of the tongue, the center area of the tongue is pressed against the hard palate, hard palate, when you're producing sounds like church, change, gene, uh, Jane. When you're producing these words, change, church, genes, uh, the tongue is pressing not the alveolar ridge, but a little bit backwards. And this area is called hard palate. Hard palate. If you don't know how to pronounce it, go to an online dictionary and type the word hard palate. Okay? Then the back of the tongue can be pressed against the velum. 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 All right, velum. So when you say the last sound of the word song or the verb sing, right? Listening, the last sound, listening, you are pressing the back of the tongue in the velum area, or also called soft palate. Soft palate. Okay, soft palate would be like this. And the uvula is what we call in Spanish campana. I guess I knew it as campana. I don't know how do you campana. So I'm sorry. So the uvula is this little thing dangling here that moves ups and down. It moves up and down. When it moves up, it's blocking the passage. So the air stream is not escaping through your nose. For example, when you say as in sing, song, sight, the airstream is not escaping through your nose. It is not escaping from your nose, right? In the initial sound, right? Now, when you say sing, sing, the last sound of sing, I'm talking about the this word. Okay, so when we say the initial sound, the air is not escaping through your nose or nasal cavity, right? When you say the first sound, the air stream is escaping through your mouth or oral cavity. Now, if we focus on the final sound of sing, 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 which is represented by this symbol, sing, sing, sing. The last sound, if you feel your nose, sing, you can feel vibration in your nose because the air stream is escaping through your nose. Sing, the final sound. So how does the airstream escape through your nose? Because this uvula is lowered, it's down. If the uvula is down, it allows the airstream to escape through the nose. But if the uvula is up, right, if it's raised, the airstream does not escape through the nose, but escapes through the mouth or oral cavity. I don't know if I'm explaining myself, but in general terms, we have oral sounds and nasal sounds. Most of the sounds are oral, but there are some that nasal, that when you say when you say when you say okay, the airstream goes through the nasal cavity, okay? So that happens when the uvula is down or lowered. If the uvula is up, if it's raised, it's blocking the passage of air. So the airstream has to go through the mouth, okay? Another important uh, part of the vocal tract that we're going to be using a lot is vocal folds, or some people call it vocal cords, right? Both of them are correct. We call this in Spanish cuerdas vocales, right? And vocal folds or vocal cords can vibrate or not. Okay, when you produce the sound s, and if you put your fingers on your throat, you're going to feel that there is not vibration. So I'm going to encourage you to do that exercise. If you produce s, you put your fingers here on your throat, s, you're not going to feel vibration. But if you produce the sound zzz, zzz, you should feel vibration in your throat if you press your fingers in your throat. I mean, just press the throat. Do not strangle yourself. No choke. Right? It's just be very gentle. Okay, with yourself. So you're going to feel the vibration when you produce the second sound, but not when you produce the first sound. Okay. So we have voiced sounds, and voiced sounds are when there is vibration in the vocal cords or vocal folds, and we have voiceless sounds when there is not vibration. Okay, I typed the words in the chat, by the way. So going back to the presentation, it's very important to remember the name of some components of the vocal tract to be able to explain how the sounds are produced. Okay. Now, the last class, I think we covered E and E. Am I right or wrong? Hello? Hello?
I think we did not see them.
We didn't see that.
Okay, okay, wonderful. Okay, this is what we're going to be finishing now because we don't have enough time to go over more contents, but I want you to consider the following. There are 12 vowel sounds in English. Some sounds do not exist in Spanish. For example, the sound, the consonant, sorry, the vowel sound as in first, girl, earth, word. This one does not exist in Spanish. So we need to learn it. And in order to learn it, we need to understand how the sound is produced. When you say niña, you say girl. You don't say girl. When you say tierra, like planeta Tierra, you say planet Earth. Earth. When you say primero or primera, you say first. First, not first, okay? First. So we're producing the same sound in all of the words, and how we represent that sound with the symbol. this symbol, this sound does not exist in Spanish. So that is one problem that we need to deal with. Now, the other problem is there are some sounds that are similar, but not exactly the same as in Spanish. For example, we have the vowels a, e, i, o, u, a, e, e. Now, when we produce this sound, the one that I'm putting in a square here, sort of a square, is e, as in feet, see, bead, okay? Just like if I were smiling, okay? Green. Now, when we produce this sound, which is represented by the symbol, we say fit, grin, tip, so why is it tricky? Because we have one sound in Spanish that is very similar, like E, A, E, I, O, U. But E is not exactly the same as E and I. Okay, so those are the two problems that I see. That some sounds do not exist in Spanish, and some sounds are very similar, but they are not exactly the same. Okay, so we're going to focus on the description of next class of these two vowel sounds, E and I. We're going to see in which way they are similar or different, and we're going to use this criteria to describe the quality of each of the 12 vowel sounds, okay? So what I want you to do is, I want you to focus on this presentation that is in the LMS. I want you to pay attention to the concept length, height, precision, lip rounding, and tenseness. Length, it obviously refers to the duration of a sound, if it's a long or a short sound. In that case, E is the long sound, the long vowel sound, and I is a short vowel sound, okay? E is long, I is short. And well, if you see this vowel quadrilateral, you may see that this symbol is followed by a colon or dos puntos, as we say in Spanish, dos puntos. So the symbol, when it has this colon or dos puntos, right, following the symbol, it means that this symbol is representing a long sound. So we have this one, E. We have which is also a long vowel sound, a, also long vowel sound, o, and u. All of these five vowel sounds are long vowel sounds. How do we know? Well, basically the colon, los dos puntos. Okay? All right. The other criterion to describe a vowel sound is called height, which is in Spanish, altura, the height. We can say that a vowel sound is high, is mid, or low. So whenever we think about this, remember, as a mouth. So when we say that a sound is high, we're saying that the tongue is raised to the roof of the mouth. Okay? So E is a high vowel sound. If we look at the sound as in cat, the tongue goes to the bottom of the mouth. So this would be a low vowel sound. Okay? So when we refer to the height of a sound, we refer to how high or low the tongue is. So a vowel in terms of height can be high, mid, or low. E is a high sound. Which is the schwa here, is a mid sound. And a is a low sound. Okay? So in terms of height, we can describe vowel sounds using these three words. A vowel sound could be high, could be mid or low in terms of height. Okay, height. The other concept is the position of the tongue. When we refer to the position of the tongue, we can say that a vowel sound is front, central, or back. Front, central, or back. When we say that a sound is front, we say that the tongue is closer to the teeth. E. When we say that a sound is a back vowel sound, we're saying that the tongue is almost pressing the uvula, right? It's going back. When you say oo, oo, your tongue is at the back of the mouth. When you say e, your tongue is at the front of your mouth. E-oo, e-oo, e-oo. If you produce these two sounds, e-oo, e-oo, you should feel that the tongue goes forward and backwards, forward and backward. Okay, so that's why we can say that E is a front vowel sound and U is a back vowel sound. Okay, that's the third criteria, the position of the tongue. Then we can refer to the lips here. We can refer to the lip rounding, and the tenseness of the lips. That is, the lips can be rounded or can be unrounded. Rounded is like when you're shaping a circle with the mouth, like when you say ooh, ooh. And unrounded is when they are not shaped as a circle, as when you say e. When you say e, that's not a circle. So we are going to call that the lips are unrounded. And when you say, for example, oo, that's going to be a rounded vowel sound. It's very easy to see here in this chart because all of the rounded vowel sounds are here. All of them are rounded. Okay, all of them are rounded, and the rest are unrounded. Okay, so E would be unrounded. Okay, and the final criterion to describe a vowel sound is tenseness of the lips or tension. And we can describe a vowel sound saying it's a lax, a tense, or a neutral vowel sound. Okay? If you look at this chart, if you look at here at the bottom, the tense vowels are in the white area, and the lax vowels are in the gray area. So all of the vowels that are here in the gray area are lax. All of the symbols that are in the white area are representing tense vowel sounds. So when we produce E, that's going to be considered a tense vowel sound because the lips are spread. They're not relaxed. They're not lax, but they are tense. Okay. That is going to be the last thing I'm going to say so we can finish the session. I'm going to just repeat in case you have questions. We're going to describe the 12 vowel sounds in English using this criteria. The length of a vowel sound, the height, the position of the tongue, the lip rounding, and the tenseness. I'm missing one criteria that is not here, which is how open or closed the jaws are. Jaws is what we say in Spanish, mandíbulas, right? The jaws. For example, when I say E and when I say the jaws are almost closed in the first one and very, very open in the second one, the production of the second one. So that criterion is not present here. But next class, we're going to be using length, height, position of the tongue, lip rounding, and tenseness to describe the vowel sounds in English. We're going to start with E and I, and then we're going to follow with A and A. And we're going to contrast E, and I, and we're going to contrast A and A. That's going to be for next class, which is going to be on Thursday.
Monday?
No, on Monday. Exactly.
Monday.
Okay? On Monday, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. So the presentations I think are in the LMS. Take a look at them. Let me know if you have any questions through an email, or you can type your questions here in the chat room. Okay? Do you have any questions before we all leave?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No
Okay.
questions.
Okay. So I know that it might be a little bit confusing or complex, but throughout the sessions, we're going to get used to the technical terms, the technical language to describe vowel sounds at the beginning of this class. I mean, at the beginning of the semester, then we're going to move on to consonant sounds and then to transcription. But it'll all work out. Just be patient and let me know if you have questions. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen, have a great day. I'll see you on Monday.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you, bye.
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 Bye
See you.
bye. Thank you. Sada, the homework is check out the PowerPoint presentation so you become familiar with the concepts to describe vowel sounds. Okay? Thank you.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
righty.
Mhm.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye bye.